Down goes number one and old Rocky Top. Top-ranked Alabama losing on the road at Tennessee. It is not an upset. Tennessee was favored in this game. But Alabama, number one in the nation, they just earned the top ranking, and in their next game, they go on the road and lose, and they suffer their first conference loss of the season. And just like football, Tennessee beat Alabama in October. They beat Alabama in basketball here in February, the day after Valentine's Day. And a nice day for Zakai Ziegler and Santiago Vescovi, both with 15 points. And really the story in this game, defense and turnovers. Tennessee, one of the top defensive teams in the nation, holding Alabama to 59 points. And turnovers, Tennessee scored 26 points off of 19 Alabama turnovers. Tennessee with 11 steals in this game. And the number one team goes down for the second time in 4 days. Purdue lost on Sunday to Northwestern. Alabama loses to Tennessee on Wednesday. Tennessee, the fourth different number one team to lose this season. What does that tell you? Chaos. There's really good teams around the country, and Tennessee's no joke. They're a top 10 team. They had lost 2 in a row on buzzer beaters, so a little fluky there. And you don't just go into Thompson Bowling Arena and get a win. No, you do not. The Vols are victorious, 68-59. Let's welcome in CBS Sports HQ college basketball analyst Matt Norlander, the Natalie Clad. You look great. Tennessee looked great. Alabama did not. They did not take care of the basketball. Your reaction is what here as the number one team in the nation goes down for the second time in 4 days?
I've got a little bit of surprise here, Hakeem. I did, myself and Gary Parrish on Wednesday's edition of Eye on College Basketball, we did project that Alabama would be able to get a win here. Tennessee is a quality team. Have I faded the Vols a little bit? Yes, I have. I think Tennessee offensively is still plenty suspect, and I still wouldn't put that team among my 5 to 6 or 7 most likely Final Four candidates. But I am not taking shine off of this win. You hit on so much of that stuff so accurately there off the top, Hakeem. Defensively, Tennessee was able to do things tonight against Alabama that Alabama just hadn't seen all season. I'm sure Nate Oates' team was prepared for it, but it's one thing to prepare, another thing to actually live through it. This is a season low, 59 points. Alabama's previous season low was 65 against South Alabama. This is a Bama team that rates obviously as one of the best offenses in the country there. And wow, good job by Tennessee to, again, force the turnovers. And they really kept Alabama in check for most of the night. It is just one result. It's Alabama's first loss in league play. It's only its second loss since mid-December. Nate Oates' team is a viable national championship contender. It just went up in front of a really good team in a really hostile environment, and it got finally picked off in league play. So I'm not going to overreact to Alabama there. But, yeah, sure, big picture, when I see this result, it just reinforces to me that there is not a team that is going to be able to separate from the rest of the sport. And whether you want Purdue or Alabama, Houston still rates as the number one team in pretty much every mainstream predictive metric. There is a lot of different flavors for who's sitting atop the sport. And we are less than 4 weeks away to Selection Sunday.
Matt, Tennessee, really good defensively, as you mentioned. What did they do to disrupt Alabama? Because the turnovers were crucial. They were critical in this game. What did they do defensively really to disrupt the Tide?
Well, not just disrupt them. Remember, Tennessee was shorthanded in this game, which makes it even more impressive. No Julian Phillips in this one, and no Josiah Jordan-James. Those are two key defensive cogs for Tennessee. So to do this without their guys on the floor makes it that much better. If you watched, you noticed a few times, Tennessee, as every team knows, when you play Alabama, Bama's going to want to shoot the three or get a close shot near the rim or draw contact. There were a couple times there where Bama just had the mid-range shot, and they took it. Now, a couple of those fell. Many of them didn't there, but they were really able to squeeze Alabama out of its tempo, slow the game down, and not let Bama get a lot of good looks at three. Ultimately, Bama was, 9 of 24 from three-point range. That's not horrendous. It's not great, but you'll take it, frankly, against the Tennessee team that ranks, again, best in the country in points per game defended, points per possession defended, and the number one three-point defense in America. Do I think that Tennessee and what it did here on Wednesday can be duplicated by a lot of other teams against Alabama? Nope, because Tennessee is the best defensive group in the country. There will be other teams that could pick Alabama off. We've seen that happen. Alabama's lost. It had the weird loss at Oklahoma by 20-plus points less than a month ago. So Alabama is vulnerable here, but I just thought the way that Tennessee showed up, Rick Barnes is a veteran coach. He knows what he's doing. And to finally get a real win of importance after, yes, 2 fluky type losses. But the fact of the matter is Tennessee should not have been in a position at Vanderbilt to be vulnerable to a last-second buzzer beater and lose. It happened. Shouldn't have been in a position at home against Missouri, which subsequently got romped by Auburn on Tuesday night. Tennessee shouldn't have been in that position over the weekend, losing at the buzzer at home against Mizzou. It atones for it, and it's a well-timed win because next is a game against Kentucky, and Kentucky is a program that is fighting for its tournament life right now. And no matter what happens over the next few days, it's going to need that win desperately to increase its NCAA tournament resume against the Vols. Should be a big battle between those 2 rivals this weekend.
Entering the day, Matt, Jerry Palm had Tennessee on the 4 line. What does this result, what does this win mean for Tennessee in terms of seeding as we get closer and closer to Selection Sunday?
It's as we say on the Eye on College Basketball podcast, this is a seed line bump. This is a quad 1 win, one of the best ones you could get. I mean, the only ones better you could get against Alabama would be obviously in its place or on a neutral floor, but still on your home floor, you're getting a high quality victory there. That's going to be a major factor to Tennessee's resume overall. And so, yeah, to me, with this win on the whole, I'd have Tennessee on the 3 line right now, Hakeem. It certainly earned it with this. And as you see here, yes, it has been something of a bumpy ride. Bama just got the #1 ranking for the first time in 20 years. That's the 15th longest drought in the history of the AP Top 25. And it promptly goes out and loses. And I'll just say, as someone who has to have a new set of power rankings published Thursday morning on CBSSports.com, I've got my work cut out for me the rest of this Wednesday night to figure out how I'm going to arrange the top of this sport, because Purdue's coming off the loss against Northwestern. And right now, I guess it's probably Houston by default, but it still feels up for grabs. And personally, I do enjoy this. I understand for some sports fans, you want to look in on college hoops and you want to see, okay, can you give me 3 or 4 teams that I can be really excited about? A clear-cut national title contenders that have the capability to just, dominate for 4 or 5 games in the tournament. I just don't know if we have that yet. That may prove to be the case once we get to the big dance, but right now, it does feel like whatever group of 1 seeds we wind up getting, whatever quartet that is, it feels like it might collectively be, while entertaining, one of the weaker foursomes of 1 seeds that we've seen in the tournament in recent history.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see about that. But the #1 seeds have been up and down. 4 different 1 seeds have lost. The AP #1 team has lost 8 times in all this season. What does that say to you? What does that tell you about this particular season?
Well, if you look at the context of a lot of those losses, they aren't totally terrible. Like, Northwestern beating Purdue, Northwestern's tracking to be a single-digit seed right now. And if you really go and look back at where Houston's lost, like Houston got knocked off by Alabama. So some of the losses are reasonable. But yes, is there turmoil at the top of the sport, at the top of the polls? Yes, we have had some of that. And the #2 team has actually changed over, I think, more times to this point in the season than in any previous season. So it's not just been #1. It's also been #2. And so it is, it's just get loose. Get those muscles loose. We're getting to March. It's just going to be that kind of tournament, and it leads to a lot of chaos. It leads to a lot of fun. Big picture, this is just indicative of what we've seen this season in a micro look to this actual game. Not really surprised by Tennessee winning. This is a very affirming win for that program. Frankly, I think it needed this kind of victory to steer itself right moving forward. Alabama, I just got to be honest, I'm not going to overreact to this. It's a road loss against the #1 defense in the country. I think no less of Alabama as a viable national championship contender because it took this L the way that it did.
As you say on the podcast, it's getting to be that time. Matt Norlander breaking it down here as the #1 team in the nation goes down for the 2nd time in 4 days. Matt Norlander here on CBS Sports HQ, and Matt Norlander on the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Join him and Gary Parrish delivering commentary, reporting, and insider information as they break down all the big storylines in college hoops. They'll be breaking down this one, the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Download and follow today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.